iRacing is down and I have to race. So the next best thing would be to find the average 40-yard dash time, which seems is about 6 seconds. According to this chart, it's much different. Under 6 seconds is like a senior citizen here. I am apparently supposed to be at 4.5. Now, I like to think that I'm in pretty good physical condition. I would like to be a driver one day, but I'm not yet. Let's see if I'm at least average among people. We ended up finding a college around us that had an open track, although they were currently having track practice for the college team. So I did feel like I was intruding a little bit, and I felt a little goofy compared to these guys.
I'm gonna end up hurting myself. I'm gonna do from the 20 to the other 40.
It looked a lot longer than I remembered from high school. Decided it was probably best not to end somebody's college career via injury of flip-flop.
Do you feel at home?
No, I don't. I feel extremely out of place.
3, 2, 1, go.
I'm gonna do one more just to see.
3, 2, 1, go.
Dude, I hate watching myself run. I look like a fucking fool. At least I'm consistent, though.
Where's my shoulders?
Did you really?
Here's my shoulders.
I suppose I'm pretty average at sprinting. Kind of slow, probably. Starting in P17 with that time on Summit Point in the street stocks. This is week 13. You'll notice somebody has decided to keep his tires cool all the way around the track. Coming through the formation lap, and I really had no idea what to expect. I had only gotten about 30 seconds of practice before being absolutely obliterated by somebody. The guy who started in the grass continues in the grass and gets shoved wide by the car ahead of him off of the track. Meanwhile, we have a pretty quiet start. We're just kind of sitting behind this guy. There is space available, it looked like, for us to go up the inside, but we don't really take it. We have somebody on our outside as well. End up picking 2 positions there, one from the guy on the right and car 21, who's currently on our left. We're going to fight him up the hill, and he will end up backing out, giving us that position. So moving forward at the start, which is good. I was basically just trying to drive this car like I drove the Miata, but pretending the Miata was a lot heavier. And it seemed to work pretty well. I think my biggest mistake was that I was going into too low of a gear too often because the shift time is tremendously long on this car. I would end up correcting that in my next race, but for this race I was just kind of rolling with what I felt was most Miata-like, which was not correct completely. Cars in front end up running into each other, spinning out, giving us 2 more positions. Flying up the hill mistakenly in second gear, so I redline and ride that red line super hard, lose a ton of speed, and lose a position as well around the outside to car number 4 there. Coming into the big braking zone here, and I absolutely just get railed from behind. I'm not sure if he was going to make that corner. I was not expecting him to come at me from that far, so we rejoin after losing a couple of positions, take a super defensive line over the curb and the grass to maintain that position. And then we become the leader of this like kind of back to mid-pack. I think there was like 50 cars or something in this race, so it was a really, really packed race. Car number 10 spinning off to the left. There's somebody rejoining from the middle of the woods behind us, and me and car number 91 are going to make it through the rest of that lap without too much fuss. He does get a better run than me, plus a slipstream, and that's going to put him straight past me. I don't really fight it too much. Actually end up getting caught a little bit out wide, stuck on that curb for a second, but managed to make it work for the next couple of turns. And we are under some pretty heavy fire at the moment from car number 18 behind us, coming into the big braking zone, and he looks to make an old switcheroo happen. Hard corner to make that work on. It's such a tight right-hander here, and with me having the inside, I'm going to keep that position without too many problems. We are starting to pull away from the cars behind, though, which is good, and we are actually catching up with the cars ahead. This corner, however, was one of my big weaknesses as I was taking it in 3rd gear and running out of room at the top of that gear. Should have been in 4th that entire way, so yellow gets past us just by sheer speed. Coming through the start of the next lap, and we're actually going to put him a little bit under fire, but once again you'll see me shifting there, and this was a common problem I didn't realize I was doing at the time of this race. So I began to realize towards the last couple of laps that I need to stay in a higher gear for basically never even going down into second. We end up catching this guy, this gray guy who's going pretty slow. Both of those guys get around him. I'll end up getting past number 10 here, who was just exiting the pits, but I do get stuck behind the gray car, and they start to pull away ahead while I'm kind of trying to be careful here. End up taking a absolutely disgusting line through there. This is about 6 cars ahead of us. Car number 9 is going to get a really good run. Almost go into the back of this guy, but not quite. Both of the cars ahead go into the dirt, and this guy starts swerving, so I think he's trying to find a way around him. He didn't seem to be reacting to that too much, but he does end up just putting that guy in the wall, and this guy would kind of reverse all of the way down the track and rejoin just in time to hit us off the track. Meanwhile, up ahead of him, there's a whole bunch of sliding going on. This guy gets spun in the middle of the track, then gasses once again just in time to hit us. So that's 2 full-on hits to our front left tire, and it is no longer turning. So we end up going straight off of the track and having to pit. Fast repair was enabled for this race, so we got out of there pretty quickly. I think we lost about 1 lap worth of time, but I wasn't too mad about that. We end up rejoining in a pretty lonely position. A couple of laps later, we catch up to the guys ahead of us and looking to make something happen as we come across for, I think this is the second to last lap at this moment. A few cars ahead, and this is the guy who's been causing a lot of trouble. You probably recognize his car throughout this race. Just starts kind of running into this guy, ends up sending himself into the wall, collecting 21 there. We get around them, and then as 21 rejoins backwards, both of the guys in front of us slow down, so we gain both of those positions, who we were actually on the same lap as. So that was an actual fight for position. Pretty much everybody was a lap down in this race. Notice that there's some smoke, and I'm feeling pretty certain that this guy is just going to turn into me as I pass him, and by the grace of God, he actually lets me through. So that was probably my highlight of the race right there. Coming across the line, there's a lot going on here. I'm not sure exactly what it was. This guy still hasn't moved. He's just backing up and going forward across the track, taking people out. We end up crossing the line, going into the grass to try and avoid him. Definitely have some mixed feelings about this race. You'll see somebody flying through the background there. The car itself was actually a ton of fun. I could see a little bit of the Porsche in it, and I could see a little bit of the Mazda as well. Really fun car to drive, just pretty heavy. Leaving voice chat on was a horrible mistake, though. I've cut all of that out, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Here are the results, as if they matter at all. The guy ahead of me had 31 incident points, and the guy ahead of him had 28. So yeah, pause if you want to look at that. Now, I am going to be doing one week 13 race every single day and making a video on it, so stay tuned, and I'm going to be uploading all week. That was the practice I had. I had one turn before that race, and this is how that went.